found the GroomPod. Welcome to our virtual salon. My name is Susy, and I'm your host. I'm a mobile groomer from Seattle, Washington, and anybody who knows me will tell you I love to talk, especially about my job. And one of my favorite people to talk to is my friend and mentor and the co-star of this show, the curator of ingredients, Miss Barbara Bird.
Hiya, Susy. I'm super thrilled to be here today.
Oh, I am tickled pink, as you can see by my background, that you are here because it seems like it's been forever. It's so exciting. Barbara, welcome to episode 427 of the GroomPod, recorded on November 4th, 2024 in Snohomish, Washington and Simpsonville, South Carolina. This podcast is brought to you by our kind sponsors, Best Shot, Show Season, Precision Sharp, Groomore, and Stasco. And if you guys want to support us, you can do so at the website, thegroompod.com, where you will find a donation button that will go directly to Barbara for her adventure in South Carolina, or you can join us on Patreon. And this week on the GroomPod, we're going to tackle some cold weather problems. What's New is brought to you by Groomore Software. If you haven't found Groomore, you're missing out. Groomore is an all-in-one software solution for your grooming business. Whether you are a solo mobile groomer or manage several shops, Groomore has everything you need. 24-hour online booking and forms, routing, credit card processing, reminders, Google Calendar and QuickBooks integration, and so much more. And the best customer service anywhere. Shop, mobile, or house call, Groomore has you covered. And they're giving us a free month. Just enter GroomPod22 in the coupon code. We've been playing Where's Barbara for a while, so it's very exciting to have you here. Barbara, what's new?
Oh, I have a great what's new that I can't wait to share. I finally got around to doing full grooms on my two Maltese. I've only done this one other time since I moved from Tucson. They were shaggy and they were getting very dirty on the underside of them. And they were bringing in dirt. I was being allergic in bed. And that's when I knew that there must be a lot of dust around the bed, or maybe it's dust mites that I'm allergic to. So I super prioritized it. And I did, Susie, I did the cutest groom on my little Maltese named Little.
I can't wait to see it.
I'm going to send a picture that you can use on the website so that they can see, that people can see it. But just to describe it, first of all, she's small. She's like 5-6 pounds. And she's very, very tender about grooming and doesn't let me do a very good job. And so she had kind of grown out with mats, okay, a little matting here and there. So I couldn't do a perfect demat on her. She has no teeth and her tongue stick out the side, and it gets a lot of drool and just icky discoloration around her mouth. So I decided I was going to do not just a mouth clip, but a full, clean-faced poodle look. And then I took the 7-blade and did a radical body shave where I came down to the shoulders, nearly to the elbow, and down the hips where the t-shirt is going to fit. And then I took the legs half the way down and left long, straggly hair at the bottom of the legs, right? And it's kind of in her cute little tail. It's kind of in the look of the Chinese crested.
Oh, I can picture that.
And I've always liked that look. And I thought, well, why not do that look on her? And I've never done it before because she's so awful. She's so insulted and hurt and damaged by combing out her mats that I usually just let her mat and then clip them off. But I was able to do a really thorough comb out of the difficult matted areas of her little legs using the mainly hair products. I love that brand. It's not perfect. I wouldn't want any one of our listeners to take a comb and try to comb it out, or she would scream and yell and say, "You hurt me!" And because she was so mad at it. But I've decided in my mind, I mean, kind of having a creative period. I decided in my mind that it's no longer necessary to have perfect puffs on the ankles, that we can do spiky puffs.
I like spiky puffs. That would work better for me since perfect puffs don't work for me at all.
Well, yeah, but guess what? The days of perfect grooming are they're slipping by us because more and more people want a natural look. That means they want their dogs to be groomed, but not to look like they've been groomed.
Yeah, the doodle.
Even before then, you've seen the cutest schnauzers with some of the craziest haircuts
That's the
on
truth.
postcards and in magazines. And, you know, they've been taking liberties for years, but now it's like suddenly the box that is the difference between show groom and pet groom. The box is broken open. It's just like sexuality. It's a fluid thing. It's not a totally one thing or totally the other thing. It's a fluid thing.
So I must have been channeling you, Barbara. I must have been channeling you because I have a
Yeah.
gazillion-year-old Havishon that has no teeth and her tongue sticks out and everything gets all drooly. But she has humans who have always brushed and kept her pretty tangle free, so we've always left hair on her. But she's needing diapers and she's got all this drooling happening. So I took her down on the back end, shaved all of that off with the 10 blade because they have a terrible time keeping her bottom and her lady parts all clean. So I took all that off and I left the equivalent of spiky poofs on the bottom of her back legs, and then I did a clean poodle face on her.
You know, you can do, oh God, what is that breed?
Lotion, the lion cut
A
dog.
lotion. Yeah. Yeah. You can do that look if you can keep the front brushed out. But you know what? I'm going to admit something. I'm not doing anything professionally. I'm just working on my own dogs right now, and I am giving myself permission to not be perfect.
Excellent.
And then I'm rationalizing it, and then I'm enjoying it. And so I am working more on, I think I'll probably be encouraging home groomers at some point. Again, I like working with pet owners, I like writing for pet owners. And this little clip, this little style is just perfect. You wait till you see it, just looks precious, so cute. I saved the top of her head and I put her up in her first top knot and it kind of goes over to one side. So I let that be. And I'm going to do some coloring on her, but not right away. I'm going to.
Don't tell your landlord that.
So I was even thinking of taking her kind of uneven puffs because there's some mats in there still, and just gelling them, the spiky ends. So it'll be sort of like oh, maybe a porcupine or something.
I like it.
We're a work in progress. I'm just really proud of that I saw that on her and was able to achieve it.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
We'll send a picture.
Yes, we'll put a picture up when I post this podcast, which will be like a Monday or so. I got the coat tender when we last spoke.
Yeah.
I finally had the opportunity to use it. And I want to say that I've seen on the internet a few less than positive reviews about it. And I think it's more because I'm not sure people know what they're doing when they choose the different sizes and what coats to use them on. So, in a future episode, I'd love to talk a little bit about carding versus stripping or how carding fits in with stripping.
Sure.
Yeah, cool. Okay, I'm going to write that down on our list, but
You write that down.
okay, I'm writing it down.
Did you get it written down?
Well, I will have it written down. Where were we? Oh, I was telling you about the coat tender. So when I read the less than positive reviews people were having, and I hadn't been able to find the right spot to use them, I was getting a little discouraged. And then one of my clients who has two oversized golden retrievers, big golden retrievers, brother and sister, very different hair. The brother has really decent hair. The female has spay coat and floofies everywhere. Floofies on the hips, floofies on the shoulders, floofies behind the ears. There's just floofies everywhere. And I thought, oh, this would be a good time to try my medium coat tender. And it was miraculous. It took all the floofies off.
Now I finally understand what you mean by floofies.
Oh,
They're those little tufts of undercoat that get caught in the coat, right?
yes. People pull them by hand, people strip them and card them, people clip them off. I've never been able to figure out what the right answer is, but my most common thing to go to is card it out of there with my stripping knife, which is exactly what the coat tender is. So I took my medium coat tender and I went over started on the hips, and it just pulled it all out magically. It was like I was standing in a cotton candy room with hair floating everywhere. It was just fantastic. So I really enjoyed using it that way.
Jennifer Bishop Jenkins speaks highly of that tool. Do you have a whatchamacallit?
I have lots of whatchamacallits.
The comb brush combo thing.
The Pinello,
Pinello, yeah. Do you have a
yep,
Pinello?
it just combs it out, doesn't take it off. I want it off. It needs to come off. It looks horrible.
For me, it gets a lot out. Maybe you're not using your wrist. When you use a Pinello, I mean, see, when I use a Pinello, twist my wrist a little bit when I'm at the skin or behind what I want to comb out, and that kind of locks the comb. And then the other thing that I do with the Pinello and with the comb is I just tap in and out of the hair. So it's sort of like when you're preparing the dirt on the yard
Uh huh.
to grow something. I'm very attached to the Pinello and also mainly hair. Their detangler tool is the boss.
Yep, it works. It's good, and it definitely helps with the floofies. Okay, let's take a break, and then we're going to come back with our first appointment, which is about hypothermia at the table. Let me tell you about Best Shot's newest addition to the Ultramax Pro line. Ultramax Hair Hold is a flexible hairspray that can be layered on for a stronger hold. Ultramax Hair Hold spray is great, but my favorite new product is called the Max, and I won't groom without it. It's a fragrance-free ultra concentrate conditioner and detangler. It reduces drying time and handles undercoat and tangles like magic. Just a few drops in the final rinse or spray it on and dry it in. Contact your favorite Best Shot distributor or learn more online at bestshotpet.com. Grooming success begins with Best Shot in your tub. Made from the best stuff on earth. Ready, groomers? Here comes our first appointment. It was 38 this morning here. The weather is getting cold, and my trailer takes a little while to heat up. So, this is an interesting subject to me. So, tell me what you've learned about hypothermia and the effect of the icy temperatures on the table.
Simply put, hypothermia describes a situation where a dog's body temperature is significantly low than normal. It must be a dramatic enough shift to put the dog's well-being at risk. It can be fatal. Being cold is not the same as being hypothermic. So, what is the normal body temperature for a dog? You probably know this, but maybe you don't. That the average body temperature is warmer for dogs and people. It's 101.5 Fahrenheit to 102 1.5 Fahrenheit. Okay, just right in that area is what's normal for dogs. When the dog gets cold, it's not a huge deal, but when it gets colder and colder, it is. And so you have to keep your eye on the pets. The thing I want to emphasize in this description is that what we know from a lot of animal research is that there's plenty of individual differences among us people, animals, dogs, rats in the laboratory, rats at home. There's a difference between an individual species and there's a difference in individuals, persons or pups, as we might say. So when is a dog's temperature too low? The mild form of hypothermia is in the 90 to 99 Fahrenheit, right? 90 to 99. So that's a big drop. 90 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit level. Moderate hypothermia is 82 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a pretty thin margin. And anything less than 82 degrees Fahrenheit, the shivering stops, the dogs collapse, there's erratic breathing, and fixed dilated pupils. I want to say if you ever see fixed dilated pupils, you know a dog's in serious trouble. I saw fixed dilated pupils when my Maltese ate a chocolate bar that wasn't just a chocolate bar, if you know what I mean. So, so anytime the dog, they're just like look like they're meditating, then there's a likelihood of a physiological problem happening underneath. Now, I used to be able to take the dog's temperature for excessive heat or excessive cold from a one of those temperature guns.
Yes,
Susie, do you know what I'm talking about? It's got kind of it looks like a gun handle,
we've
and you
got
can
one.
turn it to animal or human. You have one?
Yep.
Where'd you get it?
Amazon, where do I get everything? Sometimes I get things from Cascade Grooming Supply, but in this case, I got it from Amazon.
And do you have a link you can put up for us?
Not specifically, but I'll find one.
I'm going to admit that I bought mine direct from China. So I found it on AliExpress, and I'll go there and I'll look around too. You really should have a thermometer in your first aid kit or around so that you can monitor what's happening with the animals in your care in the hot heat of the summer and the very cold of the winter. And you need to watch with your eyes because the the dog will start shivering and curling up, kind of trying to keep itself warm, and will have cold spots or areas that are distinct on the body. Where it will be the warmest is in the armpits and in the inside the thighs, and there where there's kind of skin holding. Whenever a dog's temperature drops to 98 Fahrenheit or 99 Fahrenheit, hypothermia is setting in. So you want to do something. What can you do if you think or know that a dog is in a situation of hypothermia? You want to use a heating pad, a warmed bottle wrapped in a towel. What you want to do is slowly increase the temperature around the animal. And use a hair dryer on the lowest setting or a dog specific dryer with the no heat setting. So you don't want to put direct heat onto the animal. You do not want to put it in a tub of hot water. If you're going to put it in water, it needs to be very lukewarm. The best thing is to slowly increase the temperature around the dog and slowly increase their temperature. You can use a dog dryer on cold which is always usually going to have a little bit of heat to it. But my experience is that sometimes you really create a low wind with that. You can wrap them up.
What about putting the dog on your lap so it's next to your body heat and maybe wrapping it in a towel?
That's a good way. And for those of you, Susie, who are in a mobile unit, that's probably one of the best ways. And if you've got a dog that's in your mobile trainer that's shivering and acting very cold, you don't want to put that warm water on them. You want to start that out a little cold. The real key element with both products and animals is to slowly allow the product or the animal to increase the temperature, their temperature. You don't want to like get it back to 101 right now. Don't freak out. Just slowly get that dog back to over 98%.
Is this a case where you want to run straight to the vet while this is happening?
I've let it pass and continued to monitor the dog at home. But with all professional liability in mind, you might want to say to the owner that it would be best to take it to the vet.
Better safe than sorry, I figure.
The value you get for telling the truth with your customers is really greater than the value you get by lying to them
Yeah, I fully agree.
or not telling them information like, oh, by the way, he got way too cold. Now that we kind of have an idea of how to best take care of those dogs, but watch out for stuff like this in the wintertime. Just like we have to watch out for heat reactions in the summertime, you've got to notice and pay attention to how the animal on your table or in your premises is behaving. And if they're shivering and curling up and looking spaced out, you got to take action. And then you got to confess.
Let's take a break and then we'll be right back with the product part of our information.
Show Season has a great enzymatic cleaner called Kennel Fresh. And you dilute it with warm water and it smells good, and then it evaporates to be a deodorant. As the Kennel Fresh dries, it's enzymatic, it eats the bacteria and the odor source. So it's really good stuff. You can use it indoors or out.
Find it at your local distributors or showseasongrooming.com.
The GroomPod and Precision Sharp would like to invite you to check out the newest precise cut shear called Lynx. Its patented design features a thumb ring that slides the length of the handle for perfect ergonomic placement of your thumb. Slide it, lock it into place, and get your best grooms on. Check it out at precisionsharp.com. Groomers, take your seats. It's time for B-Bird's Classroom. What about our products in the winter? Are they affected?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that particular question. Because, yes, products are greatly affected, but they're mostly effective when it actually freezes.
Oh, okay.
But even as it approaches freezing, you could start to have things happen invisibly inside. So here's a list of effects of very low temperature on water-based products. First of all, you can have a breakage of the container, a breakage of the bottle. Sometimes the water in cosmetics freezes and expands and can break the container. And it can happen with a shampoo, conditioner, and many other cosmetic products. The separation of ingredients can happen. Low temperatures can cause some of the shampoos and conditioners to separate with oil surfactants and water-based ingredients layering out, what they call layering out. So it creates at least 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 layers of stuff. Thickening or hardening can happen as products get close to freezing or freeze. This is because of the water content, because you remember that a gallon of shampoo is probably about 65% water. Many shampoos and conditioners may thicken, harden, or even freeze due to the water content. This can make it difficult to pour. What can have it can kind of have a little iceberg inside your gallon jug of something. And when you go to pour it, the pointed part of the ice just goes right up to the top and makes it so that you can't get any liquid out. And that liquid might not be a fully blended liquid of all of the ingredients of the shampoo. It's really a bitch when products freeze. It can have a degradation of active ingredients. Some active ingredients like vitamins, proteins, botanical extracts may degrade when exposed to extreme cold, diminishing their effectiveness over time. However, most commercial formulations are designed to withstand mild fluctuations. The manufacturer should actually put some samples of every batch that they make in our freezer and check for what happens if it freezes to know exactly what temperature it is freezing at or going wonky at.
Becoming an art project.
And just notice, Susie, that it's additives, what I call additives. It's all that stuff down in the lower 1/3 of the label or the ingredient panel, if you're so lucky to get one. Those all can degrade in their efficacy or effectiveness when exposed to extreme cold. So it's particularly going to affect your botanique over your show season or Vishrat products. Now, propylene glycol finds itself in about maybe even 85% of our cosmetics, including many pet shampoos and pet conditioners. Propylene glycol in a shampoo is a humectant. It draws moisture to the skin and hair, restoring the moisture level of your skin and coat after a grooming. So it will continue to draw moisture out of the air. What I noticed in South Carolina is that they can't get their clothes actually dry.
Little humidity happening, huh?
Humidity happening. And today, you're probably used to this, but I'm not. In Arizona, when it rains, you can look out in the street, and if the drops of the rain are happening, they're making little splashes in the water that's on the street or in any little kind of downgrade area, right?
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it happens here.
Well, that's regular rain. But here, the rain is so fine that it doesn't do anything other than make the water on the road appear a little fluorescent.
I'm going to impress you right now. That is called Virga. It's called Virga. We have it regularly here. You're right. I am quite used to it.
So you have the same thing where it's raining, but you can't see the rain?
Yep. And they call it Virga.
Spell that.
Virga.
Virga.
Also called a dry storm, and it's observable streak or shaft of precipitation that evaporates or sublimates before reaching the ground. It's exactly what you're describing.
I can tell it's raining outside this morning because there's a lot of water on the asphalt part on the other side of the porch, right?
Yep.
But I looked at the water, the only dripping that was happening was through the roof dispenser. And it's something in between fog and rain.
It's exactly what it is. But it's in between fog and drizzle. Drizzle is a little bit heavier, Virga.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this a drizzle. I call it a rain fog, kind of.
We probably have 50 different words to describe our rain here in the Northwest. And that one is very common.
We have nearly that many words to describe Arizona in the summertime. It's just like hot and fucking hot. Fucking hot is when you actually get burns on your hand from your steering wheel when you jump in the vehicle and turn it on.
Definitely. So tell me this, Barbara. When your product separates like that after it's been frozen, what do you got to do?
Well, what you should do is allow it to regain itself normally.
Like bring it back into the house?
Well, you can put it back in the house and be fine.
Okay, because mine
Just
is in the
put
garage.
it in a warmer environment. You could even wrap it with a couple of grooming towels,
Okay.
or you could wrap it with a couple of grooming towels and hit the dryer on it, or you could use the dryer on cold, which I don't really recommend, even though IA does, because that sometimes creates a wind that's very chilling.
Yeah. But we're talking about a bottle of shampoo here.
Yeah,
I don't think it cares if it's...
That's my $100 shampoo. It's my baby. I can't let it just lay her out. I gotta have my shampoo. But no, the truth is sometimes you never get 100% recovery. Sometimes, and I can't tell you which times or what, but I can tell you that if you look for products that contain propylene glycol, that is a humectant that draws water to the skin or water to the product, and it is also a
Antifreeze?
thank you very much.
I pulled that right out of the air.
Well, it got lost in my ambience, that's for sure. It's also possible when products freeze that there's some degradation of active ingredients. They lose potency. And it's again the additives, vitamins, proteins, botanical extracts, the goodies that are there really to kind of get you to buy the product. Oh, we hope they make a little difference. But those botanical extracts, vitamins, and I'm sorry to hear that proteins are affected because I really believe in protein shampoos and proteins as ingredients in both shampoos and conditioners. And the reason that I do is because proteins tend to settle in to uneven places on the hair cuticle and protect the hair shaft from further damage. Now, they do say, however, most commercial formulations are designed to withstand mild fluctuations, but we can have a really hard freeze and you can accidentally have left the stuff in the van.
For me, mostly, my shampoo is stored in the garage. So if it stays in our normal range, I don't have a problem. But occasionally we get really, really cold out there, and I have had my products separate. And I know that it is optimal to store your shampoo in cool temperatures. It's interesting to hear how non optimal it is to freeze your stuff.
As a whole, colder is better than hotter because colder inhibits bacteria and microbial reproduction. It inhibits it. Doesn't totally stop it, but it slows everything down. And that's one of the reasons why you have to return to normal temperature slowly. Don't put your gallon jug in a bucket of hot water. That's too hot. Put it in a bucket of lukewarm water. Put it in a heating pad. Don't put it under a hot dryer. Put it in a cage with a medium setting.
Make sure it has some water to drink.
So when the emulsification is lost, it tends to lead to a curdled texture.
Just like in cooking.
It curdles the shampoo. Shaking or gently warming it may help, but it won't always restore the product fully.
That makes sense.
It can also kind of dull or mute the scent of the fragrance
What?
of the product.
No.
Yeah, but here's the good news.
Okay, good news.
This effect usually reverses when the product returns to room temperature.
Oh, yay.
When it comes to color, cold temperatures are less of a problem than extreme heat because heat promotes growth of microbes, especially bacteria and fungi. This spoilage can cause discoloration or what I call, quote, funky color. Funky color is not a different color, but a yucky color.
Okay.
Funky color equals yucky color. It doesn't just mean, oh, it used to be turquoise and now it's navy.
Got it.
Funky color is not a different color. It's just a funky grayish tinge to it. That means there's mischief happening within your shampoo. Where they shouldn't hook up, or they are unhooking where they should be hooked up. This is what happens with freezing. And it can also thicken your shampoo because the water evaporates or leaks out. And there's can be changes in consistency. When water freezes and then melts again, the contents of the product may not have the same consistency. So it may not have the same flow qualities. It may pour out and then have like stringers that happen and stuff. Have you ever had that happen?
Yeah, actually, yes. Yes, I have.
Okay, see?
It's gross.
You want to watch for that. It can just really ruin moisturizers and special cosmetic stuff like cold temperature. Okay, so what do you do when you have products that have freezing or approach near freezing and are showing some signs of an iceberg inside there? Is there some layering happen? Curdling like cottage cheese instead of like shampoo? What do you do then? How do you make a decision whether to use that or not?
Well, with your nose and your eyes, I would think.
I think giving it 24 hours before you make a decision. I think you should give your frozen products 24 hours in a decent room temperature like your home. And if they haven't come to restoration, if it's still layered, if it's still curdly, if they smell bad, if they look bad, the color's yucky, you probably should toss them.
Okay, one more question from me without throwing you too far off.
Sure.
Grime time. When it's winter here, that stuff is pretty solid. If it gets cold enough to freeze, is it still going to be okay? Because it's already solid.
It is, right. It's probably going to be all right.
It certainly has the least amount of water in it for any shampoo type product.
Take care of yourselves. Take care of your pets and your care, and take care of your products, because products are money.
All right. Cool. Well, thanks for being here, Barbara. It's been great. I'm so happy to be back doing our regular thing. It makes me feel good. And hey, by the way, we're going to re-record the episode with Dana, the cat lady, that I completely screwed up. That was the worst landslide of problems I think I've ever had on a recording. The delay was like 3 minutes long. The microphone turned around so it was facing the wrong direction to pick up my voice. Her sound was awful. The whole thing was just a disaster. But she and I had so much fun. We want to make sure that you guys all get to see the whole thing. Barbara, you are absolutely invited to be there with us while we do the thing next week if you feel like it, or if you don't, I can swing it myself. I'm going to give you the option to make the decision on that one. And
Well, ask me the day before.
that sounds good.
I would very
That will
much
do.
like I groomed cats for like 12 years. I actually spoke on the subject.
The fun thing about having Dana on video is she brings Captain and Anchor, her 2 Rex cats, and we get to look at her demonstrating stuff right there with the cats. And of course, she gave us some cool discount codes, which I did post up on the podcast feed just for coming on the show. She gave us those. So I'm looking forward to it. Barbara, I know you'll have a good time if you join in with us. And happy grooming, everyone. We're so happy to have you listening with us, and get ready for the holiday season because we got one foot in the door right now.
Okay, you guys, take care of yourself because we love you.
Bye-bye.